Yo guys, what's going on? Cliff Jumper 1984, Red Rocks, your favorite Autobot, drinking that natty ice. I thought since it's Labor Day weekend, what I should do is put out a decent video, and I thought I never put out my top 10 favorite video game characters list of all time. And I sat down since, almost Wednesday, and went over this list I had. And I really couldn't come up with a solid 10. And I came up with 8 of my favorite video game characters. And some of them were missing out, but I just didn't think they would make it. Like Kyuru's from Wizards and Warriors series, Rygar, obviously from Rygar, even crossovers from the Marvel Universe like Spider-Man, the way he plays in Marvel vs. Capcom. I just think that's the way Peter Parker or Spider-Man should be. And there were so many other ones that I thought could be on this list. So I came up basically with a top 8 of my favorite video game characters. So what we're going to do is we're going to take another swig of this natty ice and we're going to hit that intro. BAM! And at number 8, we have Bulbasaur.
I was never a really big fan of Pokemon, but I picked up a Game Boy Pocket as well as Pokemon Green probably in, 1998. I worked at a gas station at the time, and I had a lot of free time while making a lot of good money on tips. And being that he was on the cover of the Game Boy game, I decided to pick Bulbasaur, and I just grew attached to him. I loved his moveset. He had great defense, even though being early as a weak fire-type Pokemon, it kind of sucked. But that's just, I don't know, it was just the character that fit me with Razor Leaf. He had a lot of good, quick attacks, and plus with Leech Seed, being able to heal some of your health back, which was a nice benefit early on in the game, as well as learning Solar Beam if you did not evolve him very late. It was, I don't know, I just connected with the character, and that's pretty much why he's at the bottom of my list as being a notable video game character that I picked.
At number 7, we have Edgar from Final Fantasy VI.
Oh, Edgar from Final Fantasy. The reason he makes this top 8 of my favorite video game characters is because he's one of my favorite characters I love to use in Final Fantasy VI. It's kind of funny how he starts off always wanting to talk to all the cute women, but what is really the deal breaker for me is all the weapons you're able to pick up for him to use. He doesn't have the magic ability, well, later on he does get that with the Espers and everything, but the items he can use can attack multiple enemies or put multiple effects on enemies on the screen, or the ones where he has the single attacks like the drill or the chainsaw does major damage. And I just like messing with all the different weapons and everything like that. Usually when I pick them and play Final Fantasy 6 or 3, whatever you want to call it, I usually name him myself.
At number 6, we have, well, it's a classic. Obviously, it's a reason why I'm a gamer. Mario.
Oh yes, Mario. Who could forget the plumber himself? He is kind of low on this list, but obviously he's a staple of gaming, and I could have easily have picked Toad as probably number 10, but I just didn't feel he had such a staying power as everybody else. But I grew up with Mario. Mario on the NES was one of the first games, if not the second second game I played next to Pac-Man. And having a Nintendo growing up, I had Super Mario Bros. 1, I had Super Mario Bros. 2, I had Super Mario Bros. 3. And they are all great games. You cannot deny the staying power in the NES. When somebody buys an NES, they want Mario Bros. 1, 2, and 3. And he's not my favorite character, but he does have a staple in video game culture. And he's such an icon, and if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be playing Nintendo. And he also surpassed me liking him outside of the video game world. I remember having a sticker album where you bought the book but then had to buy the sticker packs separately, where you got the stickers to fill inside of the book of the different numbers to complete it. I mean, it was like a cash and grab thing, but when your mom went to the grocery store and you could be like, oh mom, I need a sticker pack, and you'd open it up and you'd get like 1 out of 7 stickers to complete your book that you actually didn't have. And I don't even remember what we did with the doubles. We probably just threw them the hell away. And then when it would cross the lines to wrestling, and Captain Lou Albano, which I recognized from seeing him around Hulk Hogan and MTV all at the time for wrestling. I was only just starting to get into wrestling at the time. And then noticing he was in the Super Mario Brothers cartoon, the live action part of it. But that's when Mario passed over to pop culture. We had his own cartoon. And Saturday mornings, I'd be at my grandmother's house, or Friday after school, and I'd be playing my Mario Brothers, watching my Mario Brothers, and you'd just be like, oh my god, this, kicks ass. And you'd have your pop stars and 80s icons show up on the show and everything like that. And he would get the power-ups just like in the cartoon or in the video game and everything. You were like living the dream. Nothing couldn't get better at the time and you'd go to school and talking about, hey, I'm playing this game called Mario Brothers, I'm watching this cartoon called Mario Brothers. But when everything seemed it couldn't get any better, all of a sudden they came out with the ultimate solution to make a kid's Saturday morning dream come true. When you're done watching your Mario Brothers, or you're done playing your Mario Brothers, or trying to play it, you're going to obviously want something on Saturday morning. So you got your Nintendo cereal, and you're eating your Mario Brothers cereal in the morning. And the sad thing is, I miss that cereal today. I wish we could go back in time right now and get that. Oh my gosh, the Legend of Zelda part, and that's just as good too, that cereal. And you had 2 sides, 2 different flavors. Oh my god!
At number 5, we have the Space Explorer Bounty Hunter herself, Samus Aran.
Samus Aran was one of those characters where you basically just didn't play as her, you explored as her. And it was the first female protagonist that I ever played with. The Metroid game, when first coming out of NES with no map, was killer. And I played it for 6 years until I beat it, so I figured out what was going on, because I wasn't that type of gamer at the time. I got it when I was so young. I remember seeing it at my grandmother's house, and I was like, oh, is that the game I'm getting for Christmas? And she was like, no, that's your cousin's. And here I ended up getting it. A few years later, I'd get Super Metroid in the winter of 1994, and I would actually end up beating the game within like 6 days, and I couldn't believe it. And it's just, she's not just a bounty hunter as everyone puts her out to be. She's an explorer, and she's a female protagonist. You didn't have that so early in the video game, realm and universe and stuff like that. With all the items she has to use and everything you're able to do in that game, with going back and exploring areas that you used to, go past. That was like the major draw of going back to the Metroid games. Even though right now I only just started another M and I'm just like, it's kind of bleh. A lot of the older games, so much, I just enjoy.
Number 4, we have, it's more of an obscure character right here from the Fire Emblem series, Nephanine.
I've been a Fire Emblem fan since 1999. I found Gaiden as a translated ROM on RomNation.net. And then GameCube would come out down the line and be like, wait, I know this Fire Emblem series. And then Radiant Dawn would be on it. And I was like, wow. And all the vast characters, it would be, 3D and everything compared to the 2D fighting genre that the original Fire Emblem was on. And I've never seen anything, that was on the Super Famicom. But then here would be Nephanine, this little soldier, and a lot of the Fire Emblem games you would later play on, you can't really play as soldiers or halberds or anything like that. Where they have nice speed, decent defense, decent hit points, okay resistance against magic, but their criticals would be crazy. And then this girl she would not get touched. And then when I would get Path of Radiance down the line, which would be the Wii U version, I got her again and I was like, wow, this girl's unstoppable. And it's weird to find like this little soldier girl who just whoop ass, where a lot of the other females in the game, I think she was the only soldier female in the whole Fire Emblem series that I can remember off the top of my head. And she was just like this country girl, the look of her character with the blues and the purples, it just looked really cool. And I always loved using her because she couldn't get hit and she fucking wrecked house.
Number 3, one of my favorite video game characters. Obviously, if it's number 3 of all time, it's because of the simplicity of it. Pac-Man.
Pac-Man. Yeah, being iconic that he is like the godfather of video game icons. But the biggest reason why he stuck with me is basically how I began gaming. Like I said, if Mario was either my first or second, the other one would be Pac-Man. I remember going to the local pizza parlor, and it would be right around the corner from my house. I had the choice between the Nintendo Top or Player's Choice 10 and the tabletop, what would they call it? Where you could sit and play the games with the video game on the table itself. Oh gosh, it's escaped me right now. But basically you could sit there and play Arkanoid or Pac-Man right there, as the table you sat at was under the glass. And I would always be able to sit there and play Pac-Man while we'd be waiting for the pizza. And I've got a tattoo of Pac-Man on my back. It's a simple and fun game that you can easily pick up and play for 10 minutes or something before you get bored. And it was on so many different platforms and everything. And it's another video game icon that cross between culture. There was a Pac-Man Fever song out, there was spaghetti, and I even remember eating the Pac-Man cereal back in the day, like right before it got discontinued.
Number 2, the Blue Bomber himself, Rockman, Mega Man.
Mega Man, Rock, the Blue Bomber, whatever you want to call him. He's easily on top of one of my favorite video game characters of all time. It was really hard to pick him over X, considering X was kind of programmed to stop the Reploids, as to where Rock, before he became Mega Man, decided on his own that he wanted to stand up against evil and Dr. Wily. And you kind of had the whole idea of you didn't know what was going on with Proto Man throughout the whole series. Growing up on Nintendo, you had the 6 installments of 1 through 6, and each of the games brought a little something different to the table, whether it be a different move, a different an ally, as well as different armor. It really kept you intrigued, and a lot of people complain about how the series got stale. It never really got stale to me. And down the line, what was it, 94, 95, he was brought bigger than life. We had a cartoon series that wasn't necessarily that great, but it really helped to bring the character alive a little bit more.
And number one, last but not least. But when I want to say this person, there's of course a different couple characters that fall in the name in the video game franchise of Link. I pick the Downfall Timeline Link for Legend of Zelda and Legend of Zelda 2: The Adventures of Link.
Easily Downfall Timeline Link. I grew up with the game. It basically made me a gamer itself. It was one of the first games you basically didn't have to just travel right. And there's a lot of items. It was dungeon exploring and everything, but the backstory was pretty cool. And when you look at the series as a whole, the Downfall Timeline Link was able to harness magic more through in himself than other Links were in items. He was sent out into Hyrule at the beginning, not being as young maybe as Wind Waker Link, but a little bit older, but still at 14 years old he was thrusted in the world and no one guided or helped him. As the other Links in the series, there was always someone there to tell him what to do or give him hints along the way. Sure, he had his old man saying Dodongo dislikes smoke and everything like that, but he was still able to overcome everything. And the final fight with Ganon, he was able to harness the power of the Triforce of Wisdom with the Relic of Self. A lot of other Links used the Triforce of Courage in some way without holding the Relic, which was a lot different. He was also able to defeat Ganon without using the Master Sword, using the Magical Sword, which I'd never read Hyrule's story, so I don't know where the strength that lies. I know the Silver Arrows is the big defeating factor in killing Ganon or defeating Ganon or Ganondorf, which Silver Arrows and Holy Arrows basically have the same power. As well as growing up with it, there was also the other mediums as the cereal. Like I talked about with the Mario cereal, you had Berry Mario and Fruity Link, as well as the Legend of Zelda cartoon. Well, wasn't that good, but it was every Friday, and who the hell doesn't love Fridays?
Yo, so what do you guys think? You got any feelings about this? What are your top 10 favorite characters in video games? Maybe you can't come up with a top 10, top 5, top 3. Hey, throw that comment below. Like this video if you haven't. And if you haven't, please subscribe. Until next time, like always, everyone, drink one on me.